Hi, it's Cheryl. Welcome to Homebridge Studio. For today's video, I compiled 20 of my favorite spring and or Easter crafts. Enjoy! This is another wreath, and this is hanging in the window of my office. I was going to put it in my kitchen window, but I couldn't figure out how to hang it without poking a hole in the ceiling, and I did not want to do that. So I have another wreath form that I thrifted for 99 cents. I have the flock bunny. Don't remember where I got it from, either Dollar Tree or Target. I have some Spanish moss. I have this gorgeous ribbon that I love. I've used this on a couple projects. It's burlap with cream color satin on both sides, and then I have some of this paper wrapped wire which matches this wreath form. So this had jute tied around it, and I was kind of wondering, I wonder why they tied jute around it, because it was very obvious that it was jute, and it's because look, all these pieces, yeah, they were all loose. So yeah, interesting. Anyway, I took that off, and I took this paper wrapped wire, and I just wrapped it around here. I tied it on the back, gave it for some reason I was able to actually tie it, put a double knot in it. You usually can't do that with wire, but this, yeah. And I think I got this from Dollar Tree a long time ago, and I have not seen it since. It came in different colors, but this matches the wreath form perfectly, so it makes it look more like a grapevine wreath form and not just wrapped in twine. So I love the color of that, and that's why I use that. And now I'm just going to, this is so quick and easy, you guys. I'm just going to glue that flocked bunny in the middle of it. And again, I loved all the like natural colors and all of the earthiness of all of my pieces today. So I glued that bunny on there, and I just put the tape underneath it to hold it up so the glue would dry. And then I got some Spanish moss, just a little teeny bit, rolled it in my hands, and then hot glued it there, trimmed it up a little bit, and then I took some jute and I wrapped it around the bunny's neck and put a little bow on it. And now I have these tumbling tower blocks. I'm going to put a couple on the back here just to hold the bunny up to make it more stable, because it wanted to flop over in the back. So I glued it right onto the wreath and right onto the bunny. And now I have this ribbon, and I'm just going to cut a great big loop. I had to measure it to from the top of my window to the wreath form to see how long I wanted it to hang down. I want to say mine is probably about 12 inches. I just made a bow, or excuse me, not a bow, a loop, and then I glued it. And then I forgot to hit play. I made another loop, just a loop, and I hot glued it on the top there and put one of those little buttons that you get from Walmart, the little like wood buttons, glued that on the top there. And I love this. It's just super simple, and it looks like a silhouette in my window, you know, when it's darker out, and it's just absolutely stunning. And here's what I used to make it. I have this gorgeous charger plate. It's white, like a pearl color. I believe I got that from Dollar Tree. I have this peel and stick paper from the Dollar Tree. It's beautiful. I have these butterflies that match perfectly, and those are from Michael's. They were like $3 or something. Well worth it. I have the lavender from Michael's, and I have just some burlap ribbon left over and some sheer white ribbon from the Dollar Tree. So I'm just taking a pencil here, and I'm tracing out this on the back of the charger plate. I'm going to stick it on the inside. And why did I trace it on the front and not the back? Because there were 3 butterflies that I wanted to make sure that I got, you know, into the middle of the charger, so I couldn't flip it over and not look at it. So it worked out fine. And the edges were just a little rough, not too bad, but I personally didn't like the way it looked, so I'm taking some jute and putting it around the edge there just to kind of hide that. And I went very slow, and I have a very fine tip glue gun that I'm using, so it worked out really well. And I think it actually looks better this way anyway. It just kind of pulls it all together. And now I'm just going to make a bow here out of my little leftover piece of burlap. And then I tied it with some jute. And I dovetailed the edges, or the ends I should say. I'm going to glue that right on the top. And this is totally customizable. You could use scrapbook paper. You could use they have many different kinds of charger plates and the peel and stick wallpaper, different ribbons. So very simple project to do. It's a fun project. And like I said, it's totally customizable. I just love these colors all together. And the Dollar Tree does have some lavender. I just didn't have any, and I was at Michael's, and it was a nice big bunch, and they were all on sale. I want to say like 70% off or something. And yeah, I'll buy it then because they're nice picks, and you get a lot more. So I just took 2 clumps. I clipped them all apart with my wire clippers, and then just took 2 clumps and put 2 on each side under the bow. And I clipped off all these butterflies. And then I'm going to put one right in the middle of the bow. And see, I place some before I glue them. And then when I like them, then, and they look right, then I make them permanent. And it just had the little knobby thing on the end of the butterfly. So I had to clip that off with my scissors, just so it would lay flat. And I thought the bottom needed just a little bit more, so I just took some of that lavender and put a couple pieces down there. I only put 2 here. I did add 2 more on top of it to make it look a little bit bigger. And then I just took this sheer ribbon here. It's a sheer white ribbon. And I'm just going to glue it right on the back as a hanger. And I didn't show, but I did put tape on the back of that to keep that ribbon in place too, because I think that might pull off after a while. But anyway, here's what it looks like. I am so happy with the way this turned out. I think it's just absolutely beautiful, and like I said, it's so easy to make. If you're looking for a fun, simple, easy craft to make, you can get almost all of this stuff from the Dollar Tree. They don't have these kind of butterflies, but they do have like paper butterflies in the sticker section. I picked him up from the Dollar Tree plus $3 for that little bunny, and 2 styrofoam pieces or floral foam. And then this plate I bought from Michael's. It was $3.99. I got it for 50% off. So I thought it was beautiful. I love the scalloped edging. Anyway, I painted the back of the bunny because this is going to be a centerpiece. I just peeled off the sticker, painted it white because you'll see both sides. Glued the foam onto the plate, and we're going to be putting the bunny on top of that. And now I have these trees from the Dollar Tree, and I just fluffed them out. One side was flat, and I have 2 of them. One side was flat, and then I just fluffed it out and pulled all the branches up that are going to be on top. And I obviously removed the little white pieces that are at the bottom. Then I wedged them into both sides, one on each side, And now I'm taking this Deco mesh, and I have the purple and the pink, and I'm just putting them together, and I'm making four big loops, 8 or 10 inches, I don't remember. And so it's a big fluffy piece of Deco mesh. And now I'm taking a zip tie and tying it off in the middle, and then I'm going to clip this in half, not down to the end, because I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in the floral foam. But it doesn't stick really well, so I had to hot glue it in. So if you do make this piece, or you use this little tip, trick, hack, you'll have to glue it. But it's a nice way to get it to kind of stick in there, you know, as opposed to trying to wire it onto something, or, you know. Anyway, you guys know what I mean. So I did the same thing with the Deco mesh for the other side. And you can see how it's not really sticking in there. I had to like glue it and then hold it, and then it's in there. I have this foliage, that's what they call it, from the Dollar Tree, and I pointed to that little stem there because I clipped all the little sticks or leaves, all the little pieces off, and saved that piece at the end because I'm going to show you how we're going to use it. I wanted to add just a little bit of spring greenery to this little centerpiece. It's actually not a little centerpiece, it's a big centerpiece. And so I just threw some in on both sides, 3 or 4 stems on both sides. These are lilacs, they're also from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just clipping the ends off there too, so I can pop them into that foam. I did not glue the bunny down. I'm just, I have it sitting up there so I know where to put the flowers. And I have these beautiful purple roses, and those are from the Dollar Tree. Love those. And then a pop of white with the lilacs from the Dollar Tree. And a big shout out and thank you to all of my amazing subscribers. You guys are awesome. And a warm welcome to those who are here for the first time. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button for me. It really helps me grow this channel. And your benefit is that every time I post something, a video, you'll get a notification. I do budget-friendly decor, thrift flips, etc., etc. Anyway, back to the video. I just popped a bunch of different colors in there that you can see in the bunny. There was some yellow, pinks, whites, purples. Tried to stick with the same color in this ribbon too, the same thing. I want to say this is about 12, maybe 8 inches long. And I dovetailed both ends, folded in half, I twisted it, and then I took some floral wire and just twisted it around to hold those together. And I'm just putting like a little ribbon here, just a dovetailed ribbon here and there. So I don't know if I did 2, yeah, I think I just did 2 kind of in the front. Now I'm going to make a small bow. I wish I would have made it bigger, but I didn't have a whole lot of this ribbon left. Easy peasy, just glue it together, make a big circle. And then I took another piece and I cut that slightly smaller. Same thing, just glued it right together. I feel like I'm cheating this way, but that's okay. I'm not the best bow maker. I'm okay, but I'm not great. And so now I am just going to put that crease in the middle on the back and put the one bow on top of the other. And then I'm trying to do this with one hand and my ribbon fell off the counter, and yeah. So anyway, I made tails. I just cut off a big piece of ribbon, and now I'm just going to zip tie it all together. And I'm going to take that zip tie, twist it a bunch, cut it off, and then I'm just going to pop it in there. And I believe I glued that down. I wanted to put it in the floral foam, but it wouldn't fit, or it just kept bending because, you know, twist ties are wobbly. And I did dovetail those ends also. Now I'm showing you here You can put a candle in there if you don't want the bunny. It's totally up to you. And I have these eggs from the Dollar Tree. I just pulled the colors out that match the bunny, and see how I'm making my very own pick for these eggs. So I can just put that in the foam and it'll stick. So I cut these down really small, put a bunch of hot glue on that. Can't even see them. And see, I stuck that right to the egg there. And I'm just going to pop that in there. And there you have it, a quick and easy, mostly Dollar Tree centerpiece. And they have chargers at the Dollar Tree too, so you don't have to buy a scalloped edge, because can you see it? No, I can't see it either. So all Dollar Tree, and I think it turned out gorgeous. What do you think? Here's my next idea. This bunny is from the Dollar Tree, and I painted it in one coat of plaster. And I have another napkin here that I think goes beautifully with this color. And I'm just going to put Mod Podge on the tail and put the napkin down on that. And the same thing with the ears. And then just tap it very, very lightly so you don't tear the napkin. And again, it was 2 or 3 ply, and I took all of the plies off. So let that sit and dry. And then now I have this little Fisker finger knife cutter thing there. And I really like it. I got it from Michael's. You can get it from Amazon. They're like $10 or something. $7, I think, maybe. And I'm just cutting the excess paper off, and that's what it looks like so far. And this is such a quick and easy, simple project. Now I have those picks from, or that pick from the Dollar Tree. It's a peachy color kind of, it matches the napkin. And I'm just going to clip a little piece off, kind of like a little necklace around the bunny. And then I have these little, they call them roses. They're from the Dollar Tree. They're these little teeny plastic ones. I don't know why I have an abundance of these. I don't know. I'm just trying to use what I have instead of buying more. And I have this little crate also from the Dollar Tree and these 2 Jenga blocks. And I'm just going to glue them onto the crate. And I'm going to put the bunny in the slat. And then I'm going to just glue the bunny onto those so the bunny stands up. That's what I'm getting at. And so yeah, if I didn't tell you, I don't think I did, if you didn't see, I just glued those plastic roses, a couple, up on the neck of the bunny. And now I have the moss, also from the Dollar Tree. I try to use everything from the Dollar Tree or even Walmart, because most people have Dollar Trees and Walmarts by them. And so, you know, make it easy for you guys to get things. Or, you know, obviously there's Amazon too for things like, you know, the little sander, the finger sander, which was $10 from Amazon, and the Fiskers. You can get those, like I said, on Amazon. So I put just the front of the box, the top and the front, I glued all of that moss on there. So it's kind of like the bunny sitting in the grass of flowers and moss. And I just really like the colors on this piece really well. And now I have a brush, a fan brush, and I'm just doing a little distressing around the edges of the whole bunny piece and across the bunny. I'm just distressing it just a little bit, just to give it a little bit more character, personality, and make it look a little bit more worn. And that's it. You'll see it at the end. You'll see it at the end again. This was a thrifted piece, and it was pretty beat up. I got it for $2, and I painted it in white chalk paint. And now I have these napkins too. Remove the plies. And now what I'm doing, because I want that ripped effect, is I'm just taking a little bit of water and running it around the edge. If you've never done this before, be careful that you don't get too close to the design, the words, or the picture. Just touch the end, because as you know, water will spread and it will get the napkin wet. So, and this is a good way to, tear off the edges around here. So I just took this and very, very carefully Mod Podged it onto this little, what do you call it? Watering can. And now I'm taking some saran wrap or plastic wrap, and I'm just pressing it down. So with Mod Podge is what I'm learning, because I do use Mod Podge a lot, but also I'm just going to give this channel a plug. She's so amazing with her techniques and Mod Podge, decoupage, all kinds of stuff. Her name is Brandy, and her channel is the DIY Struggle. Go check her out. I learn a lot of my stuff from her. She is amazing. And I don't know her, so I'm not, not plugging her for anything. I just think she is thebomb.com. And Roy Cycle too. That's another great channel for this kind of technique. So you just go really, really slow with this Mod Podge so your napkin doesn't tear, and it turns out beautifully with, especially with the saran wrap or the plastic wrap. No wrinkles on this piece. And now I'm just going around the teared edges. I'm going to make this look like kind of like a little antique water can. I don't know. I can't talk today for some reason. So I went around the edges with the antique Waverly wax. And then now I'm just going to distress across the whole entire napkin. I got a little bit too much on there, and I took a wet baby wipe and very, very gently dabbed it around the can. And now I'm going to take this same antique Waverly wax and brush it around all of the areas of the watering can. Around the rim, around the handle, and wherever, like where the handle connects to the water can, you're going to want to do a little bit more distress there where two pieces meet. You'll see what I mean in a minute, because there would be more wear there. So where the handle meets, I'm putting more distress, and also where the spout meets, there's more distress. I hope that makes sense. And then I'm very, very lightly going to distress that. And if you do this, what I just did, wipe it off really, really fast. It'll give it a nice color. It'll blend in really well, but don't let it sit for more than 2 seconds, literally, because then you'll see the lines in there. Sometimes I just get impatient, probably because this day in particular, I don't know how many crafts I made. I made a lot of them. I was doing it all day long, and I was just wanting to be done. But I was itching to make this piece. So I shoved a bunch of paper, packing paper, and in there, and so I didn't have to put so much moss in there. And then took some moss and put it on top, gave it a little haircut. And I have a bunch of carrots from the Dollar Tree, and these are the little tree carrots. And I'm just taking that little round end off of them. They just twist right off. And I'm just going to glue them, I believe 3 of them, right into the watering can. And then wherever you see more paper, just go ahead and pop it in there. And this is what it looked like when I thrifted it. My daughter wanted this for her house, but she didn't like the numbers 1, 2, and 3 on here, and it was in pretty rough shape. It was $5.99, but it was a good piece. It came complete with weeds and even a leaf in here and a few spider webs. So it was in pretty bad shape. But all in all, it was a good piece. So first of all, I'm just going to spray this down with some glass cleaner, and I'm going to wipe it off with a cloth here. And it was so dirty, you guys. It was kind of making me sick when I was cleaning. It was in bad shape. It looked like it just was maybe sitting in somebody's garage. Then I took a toothbrush and I cleaned it also with some soap. And now I am just unscrewing these little, they're like little ceramic letter or numbers. I'm just going to put them in a baggie for another day. And cleaned underneath there. And then I sanded it down because it was pretty rough. And now I have some Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, and I'm just going to give this one quick coat, and I just kind of want it to look distressed, so I'm not being really picky about covering the whole thing. So I did the front, the top, and the bottom, but obviously not the back. I didn't want to take the whole thing apart. And there were a little teeny tiny pinhole holes in here, and I just put some wood glue in there to cover it up. And then I just painted over that again. Now I have this mold. I don't remember the name of it. I just got it from Amazon. And it has like little, can't think of what you call it. The name escapes me right now, but these little like scrolly things. And I have some cornstarch that expired a long time ago, so I use this to craft with. And I'm putting cornstarch in my mold, and I have this DOS clay that I also got from Amazon. And I'm pushing it into the mold. And then I have these tools from the Dollar Tree, and I think they work really well. And I'm just removing the extra clay here. I'm going to make 2 of these. So I have one for both ends. And then right after you're done with it, you put it down, and then you roll it back, and it pops right out. Voila. Now I have some Titebond quick and thick glue, and you can also use wood glue. And I'm going to put these on, kind of look at them. Yes, I like them the way they are. And now I'm just going to put the Titebond glue on the back, and then I actually take my finger and like spread it around so there's no glue oozing out from below that. And I did that to both sides. And now I'm going to take the plaster chalk paint, and I'm going to paint over both of these little scrolly things again. And I have heard if you paint it while the clay is still kind of supple, still kind of damp, it helps prevent it from cracking. And now I have this Rub and Buff in the color Ebony. It's just black. And I just put it on my finger. I know it's sometimes hard to get this off your finger. I just feel like I have more control when I put this on my finger, and I can just spread it around. And I'm just touching the top of that. And now I have this Distress ink in the color Black Soot. And now I'm just going along the top here. The reason I did not use my finger is because this is still kind of rough, and I didn't want to get, little slivers in my finger. And that's it. It was easier or quicker to film it and to explain it to you than it, was to do it, but it wasn't very long, and I think it looks absolutely beautiful. And again, I made this for my daughter, and I think she's just going to put it in her kitchen and put like mail and stuff in it. I put a little floral wreath in there and a little bird, and yeah, you can hang this. And this is a sign. Although there's no words on it, I call it a sign. And this is what you will need if you make this piece. A bunny. I pulled this off of a piece that I've had for a couple years. I don't know, it was in my stash. Any bunny will do for this sign. A wood round from the Dollar Tree. I have these picks from the Dollar Tree. Some antique wax by Waverly, and also Waverly chalk paint in the color Ivory. And I'm just removing all the hangers. And I put that aside because I will be using that later to put back on this sign. And yeah, I'm at the bottom of the barrel, see there? So I had to go put some water in there. And then it made it really runny, and then it got really dark. But that's okay, I took a baby wipe and I'm just removing it. And as I'm removing the antique wax, look at that big blotch in the middle. sometimes this happens when you have wood pieces, especially from the Dollar Tree. So I just went with it and wiped off the rest of the wax, and then, yeah, see, that's bad. And then I stained the back, and the back was fine. So now this is our new front. So I'm taking, after this is dried, I'm taking a dry brush, a rather larger paintbrush, and I'm putting a little bit of paint on it, and then taking most of it off, and I'm just running it from the top to the bottom all around this whole piece. Now I'm going around the perimeter of this wood round here just to give it more definition. And now I'm removing all of the staples from this bunny. I have this little tool here I got off Amazon. It's the best thing I ever got. I've just received it last week, and I've used it like 4 times already. So yeah, this was worth it. It came in a pack of 4 different tools, like upholstery and carpet tools. Anyway, this is $20 for a pack of 4 different tools. And I love them. Anyway, enough about that. Now I'm just painting the bunny in the ivory, and I'm going to do the exact opposite that I did to the wood round. So the bunny is in the ivory, and then I take the antique wax and I do a dry brush around the bunny, and see, I got a little blob there on by its nose, by its face, or on its face. I just took a baby wipe and kind of rubbed that away, and then waited until that kind of dried, and then just went around it again. And now I'm going around the outline, or the outside of the bunny. I'm outlining the bunny. And now I'm gluing the tail back on. I guess I forgot to tell you, I did take that tail off so I didn't get paint on it. I'm going to glue it back on. And now I'm going to take my glue here, my quick and thick glue. This is amazing. And I am just going to spread it all around this bunny. I'm just going to put some hot glue on that so it will hold temporarily until the wood glue or the Titebond dries. And now I'm just taking these flowers, and they are all from the Dollar Tree, and I've had these for a year or two. I just went crazy the last couple years and bought so many flowers, and yeah, now it's time to just use them all. Use what you have. And speaking of use what you have, I am in another collaboration tomorrow, and it's called Craft Your Stash. So I'm really looking forward to that, because if you guys know me, I have a lot of stash. And yeah, I just put 3 of the flowers on top there, and then I put a couple of these other flowers in the middle. I liked them because they're pink, and pink is my favorite color, but I also had them in my stash. I have a lot of this color in my stash, and I think that all of these look really nice together. And now I'm just taking these little roses from that pick, also from the Dollar Tree. They're pretty plasticky looking, but they're nice when you pull them apart. I'm just going to put it around the perimeter of this wood piece here. I just clip off the little ends and then just hot glue them on. And now the leaves, they're teeny tiny, that came off of this pick with the little teeny roses here. I'm just clipping the leaves off, and I'm going to make like a little necklace for the bunny here, just out of the leaves. I think I used 4 of them. They're really tiny. When I was clipping them off, they were flying in my flowers there. That's why I'm picking them out. And now I have another little one, or a rose here. I'm just going to clip off the end of the rose so it sticks better, and then glue it to the bunny. And I thought it needed a little bit more color, so I'm going to put some of these leaves on here, just any old leaves from this pick. 1 on both sides, and then 1 in the middle at the bottom. And you know, the Dollar Tree does have bunnies, so if you can't find a bunny, or if you don't have a bunny like this, you can just use the bunnies from the Dollar Tree. And yeah, this is all Dollar Tree except for the paint, obviously. And this piece, I really like it. It was very easy, it was very quick, very simple, but I think it turned out really pretty and is totally customizable. If you want purple flowers, yellow flowers, you know, you can, or white flowers, and you can make it completely neutral using different kinds of white flowers. Anyway, let me know. I love this piece. Here's my next piece, and this is my planter. So these are from the Dollar Tree, these houses. And of course, you probably recognize these crates from the Dollar Tree. And these fences, or I guess that's what they're called, fence pieces. I have these napkins from the Dollar Tree. They're absolutely stunning. I love these. I've used them 3 times already. I have some floral foam, and I have a bunch of picks from the Dollar Tree. And some white Waverly chalk paint. So first, I'm going to paint all my pieces. I like to always paint my pieces first, because then you can work on other things while they dry. And so both of these houses here, I am going to paint them. The top, the bottom, the sides, the inside, the whole entire thing. And now these picket fences are pretty rough, so I took a nail file so I could get into all the little nooks there and filed them down. And now I'm going to paint both of these, the front and the back and the sides. And the same thing with the boxes. I'm taking both of them, and on the one box I'm going to paint the whole thing, the inside, the outside, the top, the bottom, the sides, everything. And then the other one, I am just painting the sides, the longer sides, not the shorter sides, and the bottom. I hope that makes sense, because you're not going to see it. Now, there's a couple different ways I'm going to Mod Podge this napkin in. There's a couple different things that you can do here. The first way I'm going to show you is I put the napkin in here, I creased it, and then I cut it out along the crease, just so you don't have all that extra napkin there. I always cut them a little bit bigger too, but when you spritz them with water, which I'm going to do in a second here, that will relax the fibers, and that will actually, the napkin will get a little bit bigger. And I put a little bit too much water on here. But anyway, I put a little bit of Mod Podge on top of this house here. And you saw I spritzed the napkin with way too much water, unnecessary, because it just makes it harder to work with. And then now I put the napkin on top of the Mod Podge, and then I'm just taking the Mod Podge on this fan brush here. These work amazing, and they're light, and they don't tear the paper. Now I'm just putting some down there on the top, and pulling out all of the, like, the creases and the buckles. And so that's one way, and you can do that all the way down. Put another strip, and then put Mod Podge on top, pull it down, and so forth and so on until you're done. And then the next way I started, I put Mod Podge in the house, and I'm going to let it dry. And while that's drying, I am going to take some wood glue, and this I did get from the Dollar Tree, and I'm putting it around the box here, and I'm putting a little bit of hot glue too for the temporary hold. And these boxes, I had to play with them a little bit because they're from the Dollar Tree. You know, they are not even. They are not all cut from the same, or maybe they are cut from the same tool. I don't know, but these were not exactly the same size. And so I did glue those together as best I could. Okay, that's done. Now back to this house. The Mod Podge is completely dry. I have my little heat press here, and I have some parchment paper, and I'm just pushing all of that down. It reactivates the Mod Podge, and it glues the napkin right into the, you know, whatever you're putting at, in this case, the house. And that's my preferred way. So now that that's done, they're over on the side, drying, and I am just taking this fence here, And I'm just going to glue it with both wood glue and hot glue on the side. And see, that's the side that you paint, because you're going to see through it on the boxes. But the fence, I painted both sides. So I glued it on both sides, and then I just took what do you call it? A paintbrush, a junky paintbrush, and then I just got all the little glue, spider glue webs out, and then, all the extra glue. So you want to get the extra glue from the wood glue out too, so it doesn't dry and look all goopy. And so now I'm just taking these houses here, and then I'm gluing them on the side. So you can see the shorter side of the boxes don't need to be painted. So don't waste the paint and don't waste the time. And now same thing, I'm gluing these with wood glue and hot glue on the side. And I took some floral foam and I put it in the bottom of that, glued it in there really well. And these are from the Dollar Tree, these purple flowers. I thought they were pretty and they really matched the napkins a lot. And I have a lot of little extra picks here and there. And as you can see, I'm just going to pop them all in there. I took my little wire cutters and I cut them all. And I didn't show you that because I know that's boring. You don't want to see that. But I wanted this piece to look really kind of wispy, like wildflowers. And I'm taking these little pieces or these picks that I have. They're not full. I've used them on other things. And I'm just going to pop them in here, just different colors, and just as long as they match with the napkin. That's what I'm doing here. A garden full of wildflowers. And this pick is not from the Dollar Tree. It was in my stash. It was a huge pick. I've used this about 10 times already. I love this. I got it from Michael's. I don't know when, maybe last year, the year before that. I am going to go back there and I hope to find this again because I'm almost done with this. I've used it so much and it's a really great filler pick. So I hope I can find it again. And now if there's any holes, you can put more greenery in there, more flowers, or like me, I'm just going to put some Spanish moss in there. And by the way, I can't find Spanish moss at my Dollar Tree anymore. It's been over a year and they just don't sell it. So I have to go get it somewhere else and it's a lot more expensive. But anyway, this is the way this turned out. And I popped a butterfly in there up on top. And that is also on a card from the Dollar Tree in the sticker section, but it doesn't look like a sticker. And I love the way this piece turned out. It's just so springy. And I thrifted that little bird there. And if you want to make something like this, here's what you'll need. I have a sign like this from the Dollar Tree. I liked it because of the edge there, and I know you can probably get some. They don't need to be from Halloween time, but they have all kinds of signs there. This napkin is from the Dollar Tree. It is absolutely beautiful. So if you like napkins, pick those up. Those are nice. I have the bunny garland, and then this little bunny that came in a pack with a bunch of them, all from the Dollar Tree. I have some Mod Podge. And of course, my paint does not come from the Dollar Tree, but you can get it at Walmart. It's the Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster and truffle. And this napkin is a 2-ply, so I'm just going to put a piece of tape on there and pull off the other ply. And so I'm going to paint it because you can see that tan color of the board below it, and I don't want to see that. So I'm going to paint it in the plaster chalk paint. I'm going to give it one good coat. So after the plaster, I put a coat of Mod Podge on my board there. And then I'm going to take a coat of paint and I'm going to put it on both of these bunnies with the truffle. But first I have to remove all the staples, and I'm going to remove the little fuzzy tails from the bunnies too before I paint them. So I got these 4 pieces from Amazon and they were like $19.99. They're basically upholstery, carpet and upholstery removing staplers or staple removers. That's what I'm trying to say. Oh, they are like the bomb.com. I'm telling you, those I wrestled with those and I'm like, aha, I have these, and yeah, popped right out. So anyway, I'm just happy with those. So now I'm just removing the little tails. And when I removed the staples, it made like a little, I don't know, it kind of buckled up. And I'm just taking a sandpaper and just sanding down those and then making sure they're clean because, you know, we're going to paint them. And I'm just folding over the tape so I can stick the bunnies on there. Just makes it easier to paint them because they're not moving all around. They're just, you know, on top of some wax paper and on top of the paint. And yeah, there's that truffle. And I just gave one good coat. I'm going to use my dryer to dry it. Now I have hazelnut that I didn't show you earlier because I don't know about your bunnies. Ours are not white here. I don't think I've ever seen a white bunny in our backyard. Ours are like a dark brown, and they might have a little bit of like a tan or lighter brown and a little bit of white in them. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm just distressing these bunnies kind of the way that mine look like in my backyard. And now I have the plaster, and I'm just going to go over them again with the plaster. I take most of the paint off on the paper towel. I just did this a little bit darker than what I wanted to, but it's no big deal. I just painted over it with the truffle again. And I'm just trying to figure out how I want this placed because there's a butterfly on either side, and I want to make sure that I keep that butterfly in there. And so I just cut it in half because I can use the other half of the napkin for another project. And I'm planning on it because, you guys, I love these napkins. I can't say enough about them. I'm so happy that Dollar Tree came out with something really pretty. And I'll use a napkin later in this video. It's like a coordinating napkin, and it's really pretty too, and you'll see it. I figured that I wanted to distress this, and I wanted to make it look like the top of a fence. I know I already put Mod Podge on this. I should have probably done this before I put Mod Podge on it. Not a big deal. It didn't really do anything to it. But I just, like I said, I wanted to make it look like a kind of a white picket fence. And now I have this water pen, and I'm just going over the top of this so I can have that ripped edge look. And I have this little tool. It's like a little Cricut thing, and I can't think of what you call it. The name escapes me right now, but this is how I pull off my edges. And now it's ready to place down, and I kind of smoothed it out. And of course, all of the paint and all of the Mod Podge is dried. And I have the parchment paper there. And these are sheets of parchment paper that I got from the Dollar Tree, which turned out really nice. And I'm just kind of pressing firmly with my hand while I go over this, very carefully but firmly, making sure to get all of the edges really, really well. And if you don't, and if you pick it up and you see an edge is loose, then you can just go ahead and, you know, do the same process all over again. And a big shout out, hugs and kisses to all of my fabulous subscribers. I feel so blessed by you and your amazing comments and shares and likes. I appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. Truly, I do. And if you're not subscribed but watching my video, a warm welcome to you. If you like what you see, please consider subscribing and joining my YouTube family, Homeward Studio. I do thrift flips, home decor, budget-friendly and seasonal decor, and so much more. And all you have to do is tap the subscribe button and the bell, and you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And it's totally free, and this is what makes my channel grow. And I thank all of you so very much. Okay, so after I sanded that down and got all the little nooks and crannies off of that, I'm taking a little bit of this plaster chalk paint, just a little bit, and going over the rough edge of the torn napkin, and that kind of just blends it right into the wood piece, so you can't tell as much the beginning of the napkin and, you know, the big in the wood piece. I hope that makes sense the way I explain that. And now I have Titebond quick and thick glue, and I'm just going to spread it all over with my finger. You can use a popsicle stick or craft stick. I'm just going to spread it all over the back of the bunny so it doesn't smush out when I put it down. And then I put a little bit of hot glue on there for the temporary. And then I just place both of the bunnies down there, kind of like they're looking through the flowers, and maybe there's a fence behind them. I don't know. Now I know those holes down there kind of don't make sense, so I just put a bunch of moss and then just a little bit, but I usually pack it on really heavy and then I trim it down. And then that kind of hides the picket fence looking bottom of that. And I have this ribbon. It was, I think I bought pillows or a blanket or something, and this ribbon was tied around it. It's a really like nice light burlap color, and of course I saved that because if you're a crafter you save everything. And look at, I'm using it, and I think this is the second time I'm using this, so it's a really nice piece. So yep, I just took and did a cheater bowl here. I just made 2 circles and glued them together, and then took a little bit more of that and put it on the back, and I'm just going to tie them together with a piece of jute. Nope, not jute. I am using a what do you call it? I can't talk today. A tie. Okay, so now I just gluing this down after I made little dovetails out of the ends here, and then I'm putting some purple flowers on there that kind of match the flowers in the napkin. And then I squinched the one side of the ribbon up because I wanted to see that butterfly. And now I just have some ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I'm just going to make a hanger here. And then if you're giving this away or selling it, like I always say, buy some craft paper from the Dollar Tree and go ahead and glue it around the back there. It works like a charm and it looks professional. I have a bunch of ribbon from the Dollar Tree. Here's that coordinating napkin. I have this little, it's like a yardstake. It didn't have the stake with it. For me, it was perfect. And the cashier's like, but it doesn't have the stake. I'm like, no, I would take the stake off anyway. So it saved me a bunch of effort. So anyway, I have some flowers that kind of matched the flowers and the rain boots, and then I have this wood round, and again some Mod Podge. I usually remove the tag and not cut it out because I was thinking I was going to use it again, but I didn't in this situation. And yeah, I just put too much Mod Podge on here. Oopsie. But I do have one of those like little ketchup and mustard bottles. I need to put my Mod Podge in there because I could control it more. But so you put the Mod Podge on, you know, because I did this earlier. You let it dry, and then you can put the napkin on, parchment paper, and then the heat press. I showed you that little imperfection. That wasn't a wrinkle. That was an imperfection. And the napkin, well, they're Dollar Tree napkins. What do you expect? But they're beautiful. And I hid it with the boots. And now I have these letters, and these are the little like fuzzy ones from the Dollar Tree. They come in like white, black, blue, and red or something. And I just put spring flowers down there, and I want the bow to be in the middle, so that's why I kind of spread them apart like that. And so I'm just eyeballing this and sticking them all down. Don't need to hot glue them or anything. I think they'll stick pretty well to this napkin here. And now I have E6000, and I did get these keys. They come in a pack of 3 on Amazon. I think they were like $10 or something like that. Those are really, really nice. I have it for my like Gorilla Glue and my E6000, and yeah, it takes all the hassle out of trying to get every little smushing all the glue up to the top. So this is a little trick if you can't get your caps off. My husband taught me this. You put a rubber band around it, and then you can pop it off. So I'm putting a little bit of E6000 on both sides of these pieces and some hot glue on both sides of these pieces too, because I want this to be elevated. And now I'm going to hide that little blemish just perfectly. I just have my sander here and pressing it down because you know hot glue on metal gets really hot. So that's why I did that. And now I grabbed a bunch of ribbon. I just looked at the flowers and the boots. So I have yellow, orange, blue, and purple. I didn't get any pink ribbon. And I just kind of made a little messy bow. I wish I would have made it a little bit bigger, but I was trying to not cover up the letters in the words spring and flowers, so that's why I made it a little bit smaller. And then I glued it on top, and then I just put a little sprig of purple flowers that was in my stash or from the Dollar Tree. And then I took some yellow ribbon and I just made a little hanger for the back of it. And now I have these butterflies from the Dollar Tree, and I thought, you know, this just needed something little bit extra. And so these are paper flowers. They sell in the sticker section. And I just popped that butterfly on there. I bent up the inside leaves, and yeah, this is it. And I think it turned out really pretty. As always, let me know which one is your favorite. And I know I sound like a broken record, but I ask you guys that all the time because I really truly want to know, like, what's working for you guys, what's not working for you guys. So you'll need a tin, and let me tell you, I had a hard time getting that very large sticker off the front, and Goo Gone and water and my blow dryer and everything else, and it kind of scratched it up. So we're going to have to cover it with this, is what I chose. This is from Walmart. It is burlap. with some, I don't know what kind of white, like looks like puffy paint on it, but I love it. You can use anything you want. These bunnies are from Hobby Lobby, $4.99 at 40% off. These are from Hobby Lobby, $6.99 at 40% off. I just love the color of those flowers. They're gorgeous. And then most of this is from the Dollar Tree, because I'm going to use like a blue turquoise off-white kind of decor pattern on this tin. I just pulled all my ribbon out that has the same color. I hope that makes sense. That is from Temu also, and that's fringe. Those I don't use, but you can use pit berries. I do use them a lot. Any flowers, florals of your choice. We're going to use some moss. I have a mixture of the Spanish moss and the green moss. These eggs are from the Dollar Tree, the styrofoam eggs. The beads are from the Dollar Tree. And this is white felt from the Dollar Tree. I get most of my stuff from the Dollar Tree. Mod Podge, Waverly white chalk paint. This is Decor Burnt Umber, and the blue one is Apple Barrel Aqua Sky. So first, it's always good if you know you're going to paint ahead of time, go ahead and paint so everything dries while you're putting everything else together that doesn't need to be painted. So I'm going to put a coat of Mod Podge on 3 of these styrofoam eggs, and I'm going to let them dry. And that's so the paint adheres to them. Now I'm just kind of tracing around the bottom because I'm going to cover up all the scratches and everything, which actually turned out to be good because I think that tin just is too bright. As you can see, when sun shines on it or light shines on it, it is very bright. So I just went on the outside or on the edge and hot glued it, because if you put hot glue in the middle, you'll be able to see it right through the, what do you call it, the burlap. And again, this fringe is very, very nice, from Temu. And I'm just hot gluing it right up on the top there. So I did do a Temu haul earlier, which is a video a couple videos ago, and I'm doing another one soon. I just got another one in, but more gadgets and more craft supplies. And I'm going to probably have that one up and posted in a couple weeks. So go ahead and put tissue paper in the bottom of this because we don't want to stuff it all with moss because it's a waste of material. And I'm going to put that bunny in there, kind of like he's peeking out. And I thought I was going to be able to cut it with my wire cutters, and as you can see, I am fighting with that little sucker. And that was like, I don't know, very thick metal. So I pulled that out and I just took a dowel rod and that I had in my stash, and I'm just going to hot glue the bunny up against the tin. And as you probably already know, do not touch the tin when you put hot glue on it because it is extremely hot. So I'm just holding him in place until that glue dries a little bit. And then I'm going to put a little bit more tissue paper in there. I just put it up on top so I don't use all of my moss again. And that little bow came off the bunny. And I'm just going to hot glue it back onto him. And I just drew like two little egg shapes, or one little egg shape, and then folded the felt over to make little paws, because he's going to be like peeking up with his paws hanging out. So it's like a reverse of the bunny butt. And this is a black Sharpie, and I'm just making little, like, the little nails on the bunny. And I thought it was plain, so I took this ribbon and I'm just gonna outline the top of it just to give it some more character, more interest. So now the eggs are dry and we're gonna paint them. with this Apple Barrel Aqua Sky blue color. And I believe I put 2 coats on that. Now I'm showing you, you can use for texture this little, I don't know what you call them. They're like little, I can't think of it right now, but you know what I mean. They sell them at the Dollar Tree. And you could even put pepper, or you could put baking soda in that and give it more texture, but I just painted it on because I'm gonna flick some brown on it. You'll see it in a minute. And then I'm just popping this moss in here. Like I said, I have the Spanish moss and I have the green moss. I live in Michigan. That's what our grass looks like right now. And actually, it's still not as green as this moss. It's hard coming off the dead of winter in Michigan because everything, that there's no leaves on the trees or anything, but we all look forward to April showers that bring May flowers. So now that we have all of the moss in there, I'm just going to take these little flowers, also from the Dollar Tree. I'm sorry, I don't know what they're called. And I'm just going to place them and then hot glue them. So place them where you want them. If you like it, then make it permanent. And so I do place my things and then I back up and look at it. And if it feels right to me, then glue it down. And I thought there was too much tin in the back there, so I'm just going to put some greenery. I just had this, I have a big like basket of pieces that I picked apart and I just keep throwing them in the basket, so that's what that is. And I'm showing you, yes, again, how easy it is to clean up my mat. I don't remember, I got 2 of them and they were like $4 or something like that, or less. So now I'm going to show you how to speckle these eggs. So the brown umber I put on my brush. I got my brush wet, not super wet because you don't want to make big blotches, but somewhat wet. And then you just tap something against the brush. I just have another brush. And I just turned them around and did the same thing on the other side. And let them dry. And now place them in where you like them. And when you like where they're at, then go ahead and make them permanent. And these flowers are just so pretty. I just didn't know which one to use. They're just like such a blue turquoisey color, but all these blues, somehow they're all different color blues. They go together really well. And it probably is because I put the burlap beigey creamy colors with it. And so I'm cutting the bigger ribbon. I'm just taking whatever ribbon I have in my stash. I'm cutting it, the thicker ribbon, longer. And I'm going to dovetail the ends of all the thicker ribbon. And then 2 pieces of each kind of the thinner ribbon. And then you can dovetail it one way or you can clip it the other way so it turns into a point. So I did dovetail 2 and I made 1 into a point just to give it a little bit more interest. And then this is called a messy bow, as you guys probably know. And I just put it together, however, and tied it in the middle with the jute twine, also from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to hot glue that on, and some of them fell out, some of the pieces of the ribbon, so I'm hot gluing some more of those on in the middle. And for the flower, I love that flower, I think it's just gorgeous. And that's it. And this is what it looks like. see, I still have those flowers. I used them a lot. There were a lot on this stem. And I don't know, I can't read how much they were, like $5.99, $6.99. I'm sure I got them 50% off. So you need a foam ring, or any kind of ring, or wreath form, I should say. Any kind of ribbon that you want. I have these carrots that you will need if you will be making this. And this bunny is the one that I used. I thought he was cute. And you'll see why I use this one. But you can also use that one too. So first we're going to take the Waverly White chalk paint. Oh, I was going to put paper on him, but he had too many sparkles and too much glue on the back. I couldn't, the paper would not look good. Oh, I'm sorry, let me back up. We need a pom-pom for his tail, and I am going to use that Waverly chalk paint, and I believe it's nutmeg. So as you see, I'm trying to sand it, and I was having a hard time, so I'm not going to put the paper on it. I'm just going to go ahead and paint the little bunny. And speaking of bunnies, as you watch me paint here, I have a little story to tell you. I don't know if you have any kids or nieces or nephews. My daughter, when she was about 6 years old, was scared to death of any kind of characters. Like, we couldn't take her to Disneyland or Disney World. She was scared to death of any characters, and especially the Easter Bunny. So we went to Hilton Head, and we were downstairs by the pool, and she saw the Easter Bunny coming up to the pool, and she took off and she ran away. And we couldn't find her for probably a half hour. Had no idea where she went. We had to call security. And I was getting a little afraid because she was little and we were right on the ocean, and you know, I was just a paranoid mom back then. Security couldn't find her. We went everywhere. My heart sunk into my stomach. It was awful. Didn't know that there were two pools at this particular place that we were at, and Grandma was at the other pool laying out in the sun, and that's where she went. So we found her, but that was very scary for me. Anyway, that's just my little story about Easter bunnies, and she still doesn't like Easter bunnies, and she's much older now. So yeah, just one of those kids that doesn't like characters. I don't know if you've had any of your children or sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews that don't like, characters, but that was tough. We couldn't even go to Chuck E. Cheese's. Anyway, so I wrapped this, as you can see, and then I just hung those carrots. I put the bunny there to measure to see how long, those carrots can hang down with not hitting the bunny on the head. And now after he's dry, I'm just going to take this Waverly paint and nutmeg, and I'm just going to brush this bunny, and I got a little bit too much on that ear there, so now I'm going to take a wet wipe, and I'm just going to kind of, brush it in a little bit. I want this bunny not to look like a stark white bunny. I want him to look like he kind of has fur, so I'm taking those paint strokes and pulling them up and down and blending it in every so often here and there. And now I'm just going on the outside and outlining him. And I will glue it on the front of the wreath. And I put a little square, one of those little wooden squares from the Dollar Tree in front. So he's tipping back, so it makes it look like he's looking up at the carrots. And this is just some moss. And I'm just going to pop a little bit in there, kind of like he's sitting in the grass, looking up at the carrots dangling down, wishing that he could have one. And now I'm going to put a little fuzzy tail on him. And I probably should have wrapped these around first because it was really difficult trying to wrap it around in between the carrots and the bunny, but I did it. It just took a lot longer. And I made a messy bow. I didn't show you because I didn't like it. I thought it was too much and that it fought with the wreath. So I actually pulled it off and did something just a little bit easier. And I'll show you in a minute in the picture. I just put a plain burlap wreath on it and that's it, and put a little button in the middle. Bought this hat in Kentucky with my daughter lives down in Kentucky, and you can see it's all tethered, and she just rolled her eyes and said, "Really, Mom?" And I said, "Yeah, watch what I'm going to do with this." So I've been very excited I got this last year, so I'm very excited to do something with it. So I just picked up a whole bunch of flowers and greens and some ribbon, and we're going to see what I can make this into. So because this is falling apart, I'm going to zip tie some of these greens and picks onto this hat so it'll hold it together. And I'm just using a black zip tie here. And when you if you do zip tie, make sure that I didn't turn it around to the bottom, and I should have, because it gets really sharp and you can cut your hand on that. So I wanted this hat to be kind of light and airy and, you know, kind of be a springtime hat. So I have these green stems. I'm not sure what they are. They kind of look a little bit like weeping willow, which is one of my favorite trees. But I'm not sure what they are, but I liked them, and I'm just going to do the side of the hat, the side and the bottom of this hat. And so I'm just going to put some up on top and wisp some down at the bottom. And like I said, by zip tying, these will hold the hat together also. And I didn't want to put a lot of flowers on this hat because I didn't want it to take away of the beauty of the hat, or the beauty of what this item is. These are from the Dollar Tree, the lilies, and these are very large. So I was going to put 3 or 4, but it just overpowered the hat, so I thought I would just put one big lily centralized. And I just hot glued that one onto one of the pieces here. Now these are from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take some of these, and I'm going to use my wire clippers and clip off the end and wisp them around the side, the bottom, and the top. And so what I do is I place my flowers, and then I look at them, and if I like them, then I make them permanent by gluing or by tying them onto the wreath form. And those are lilacs from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to pop some in here and there. You don't want them all pointing down or out or up. You want them some down, some in, some up, to get it just some character. And this pick I've used a lot. I bought this from Michael's. I've used it in my last couple videos like 4 times. It was a big pick, and I really like these. They look a little bit more yellow in film, but they're actually kind of a yellow white, and I thought they were pretty. And I also thought it needed just a little bit more length or something long and thin to give it more character. And these are from the Dollar Tree. I forget what they're called, but I'm just going to pop a couple on top, a couple on the bottom there to give it some interest. And now we are going to put a bow on this bonnet. It's probably not a bonnet, it's probably a hat, but this is ribbon from the Dollar Tree. It is wired, and it's kind of like a burlappy ribbon, and it has these pastel, you know, bunnies and words on them, and I thought it was really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead, and I think I made 3 loops, or well, 6 loops, 3 on each side, and I just flipped it like that so you can find the middle, and then took some jute and I'm tying it off. I probably should have put like a little clip on both sides so the jute could really get into the ribbon. You know how you clip it on both sides like that, but I was lazy. Honestly, I was lazy. I didn't do it. And so now just give the bow a really good fluff, and then I'm going to dovetail the ends. And I'm going to hot glue it right on the side of the hat there. And I have this butterfly. I'm going to hot glue the butterfly right in the middle of the bow, and there you have it. Didn't take very long to do this, and it was super inexpensive. And this is what it looks like hanging on my front door. Flip number. And I'm going to make a gnome out of this carrot from the Dollar Tree. And some things that we may use or may not use are some burlap, which I don't think I use that on this. Oh, I do, I'm sorry. The plastic shoes from the Dollar Tree, a sign. I don't use that marker, I use a different marker. Some white felt, some polyfill, which I don't use the polyfill actually. A big bead for the nose and 2 small beads for the hands. A crate, some carrots, this trim, and some Spanish moss, and also this ribbon. Almost everything is from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to remove the entire top of this carrot. The top of this carrot is actually going to be the bottom of the gnome. And this was kind of difficult to cut off, but I did. I cut each individual piece off. It took a little bit of time. And you can see I tried to pull it out and I couldn't get it out. But yeah, it just wouldn't work. So, yep, cut each one of them. So because there was a hole, I cut a circle out of the felt and I just hot glued it right there on that carrot. So I pointed at the seam, and the seam goes in the back. And now I'm putting these together. I want to make sure that the bottom is even. The top, it doesn't matter, we can cut it, but the bottom should be even, and it should go right to the bottom of the gnome, which is actually the top of the carrot. So I put all of these on there. I overlapped some of them, and I kind of made it like a little point in the middle, as you can see, like an upside, like a triangle in the middle. And that's where his nose is going to go. And I put the rubber band around there just to hold that so the hot glue dries. Now I'm making the arms for the gnome, and I'm just rolling this felt up really tight. And when you get it to the width that you want, go ahead, cut it off, and hot glue that. And I took some clamps to hold it together while it dried. And now I'm just trimming the ends off. And go ahead and fold that right in half and cut it. And now we have 2 arms. We're going to take 2 of these little beads, the little wooden beads, and we're going to use them for the little hands. And so I put a little bit of hot glue in there, and I'm pushing that down so the holes in the bead are on the side, not on the top, so you can't see them. And this ribbon, I'm just putting it kind of like a cuff around each arm. And now I'm taking the same ribbon and I'm going to glue it around the top of the gnome's beard because, you know, we don't want to see the green there. And I actually put 2 rolls around it, as you'll see me do in a second. And hey, if you're a subscriber, I appreciate you. You know that I do from the bottom of my heart, and I couldn't be here without you. So thank you, thank you. If you're not a subscriber, welcome to my channel, Home Rich Studio. Stick around. We're going to have some fun. And if you like gnomes, I make gnomes, but I make a ton of other stuff, and I do hauls, and I also do a little bit of shopping and thrifting. So we have a whole lot of fun here. So consider subscribing. And hey, if y'all like what you see here, give me a big thumbs up because that really helps my channel grow. So back to the gnome making. I just took a piece of jute that was left over from the carrot that I cut off, and I just put it around the middle because I just didn't think the 2 pieces of ribbon together looked right. So that kind of just added a little bit more character. And now I'm cutting I'm cutting 2 squares, but I think they're about, I want to say 5 inches wide, 5 by 5, big enough where you can take these little plastic booties and you can like just shove the felt right inside there so it covers the whole thing, and then put a generous amount of glue in there to hold it all together. And it takes a while for that to dry because there's a lot of glue in there. So while that's drying, I'm just taking my antique Waverly wax, and I'm just gonna go ahead with baby wipe and get some on there and just wipe it all over, inside, out, top, bottom, everywhere. The whole thing. Doesn't have to be perfect because you know crates are not perfect. And when I'm done with that, I take this burlap and I cut a chunk off and I just kind of pop it in there. And the sides were finished and I didn't want that look, so I just kind of trim that and rip the rest off. And now I'm putting some Spanish moss in there. I have a couple different colors. I have the green and I also have the Spanish moss. And I just mixed them together. This trim is from the Dollar Tree. I use 2 of them. This carrot one is super cute. I'm going to glue it around the top of this crate. So I'm going to try to get the carrot in between the rope on the side. And I was able to do that. So between the 2 carrots, see how I kind of put that rope up in there. And now I just took a bunch of these carrots and I'm hot gluing them in there. Not like they're growing out of the ground, just kind of like they're shoved in there, kind of like, you know, when they bring them to the grocery store, they're just in a crate. Well, actually, I guess they're in plastic bags now, but, well, organic ones might not be, but anyway, enough about that. So now I'm going to balance the gnome on these shoes, and when it's balanced, so you know it'll stand upright, then go ahead and hot glue that and let it dry really well. I have this chalk pen. I bought a huge container of them. This is a fluorescent orange, and they are called Lottie Dottie. I got them. They were $12.99 from Where'd I get them? Home Goods. I don't know if that's a good price or not, but I was there and I saw them and I bought them. So there's a lot of them though. There's 16 different colors. And then I just wrote carrots 5 cents. And I thought his little shoes looked a little boring, so I'm going to put a little pom-pom on each one of them. And this is from that trim pack also. In here I'm just making a little shoelace bow for the top of his hat. And now I'm just going to glue the arms on, and do not worry, you will not see the top. We are going to fix that in a second. And make sure that you glue the seam side toward the body so you don't see the seam. Well, I put a pom-pom on top there too. So back to this little ribbon, I cut 2 little teeny pieces off, and I'm just going to glue it right on top of that, like kind of like his shoulder, and that hides the top of the felt. And there you go, and this is what it looks like. And this is an egg wreath. I have this egg form from the Dollar Tree, and I have this really pretty ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and it is wired. And I'm just going to wrap this around the egg. So I'm going to start off and glue it on the front, but I'm going to make sure it has a little piece that you see folded over there, that I can glue it onto the wire in the back. And I have this video kind of fast, but I took this really slow, so there are no creases or wrinkles in it. It laid very flat on this wreath form, and it took me, I don't know how long, probably 15 minutes to do, but I would wrap it twice, and then I would hot glue it, and then I would hot glue the ribbon onto itself also, just to ensure that you know, there's no unraveling of this, and then it's glued on everywhere. And if you pull it tight and you wrap it on an angle, there should be no problems with wrinkling or creases. And then of course I want to end this in the back, so I will just wrap it around one extra time just to make sure that where I cut the ribbon is in the back of the frame. Okay, so now I'm going to bring in these purple lilies from the Dollar Tree, and I think I have 3 sets of them. Now I'm cutting them off with wire clippers, and I'm cutting them fairly long. You can always trim them down, but you can't always replace it if you cut it too short. I am trimming them long because I am going to zip tie them together on the bottom of the egg. This is kind of hard to do, to keep all these together. They kept twisting in my hand, but it took a little while, a little patience, but I got it done. And so what I did here with the zip tie is I didn't tie it super tight, so I could actually add some stems in there, because as you can see, they kept turning on me. And I wanted to get as many stems in the zip tie as possible too. If you don't pull it tight until you're ready to, you can turn them around, turn them and twist them in there too. So I put 6 of them in, 3 on each side. And then I didn't take a zip tie. I don't know why I took a pipe cleaner. Probably because I had to walk in the other room to get another zip tie and I had a pipe cleaner with me, so I just used that. Call it lazy, I don't know. So these extra stems I cut shorter, and I'm kind of just putting some glue on them. Actually, I'm poking them in there to see how I like it. And then I just placed a couple more up on the side because I thought it was too bunchy at the bottom. And now I'm going to put some other picks. This is just called greenery. And it's from the Dollar Tree, but they're purple and green. It almost looks like, what do you call it, lamb's ear on the end of these. So I kind of pulled a little bit of those off, and then I'm kind of just scattering them everywhere. So you have the big lily flowers, and then you have these thin, tall ones, and the purples match, and then you have this fuzzy green leaf, which is just so pretty together. And I'm just poking a couple here and there. I still thought it was missing something, so I have these other purple flowers. They were on sale, but the regular price was $3.99. I got them at Michael's. I don't know what they're called, but I just they're kind of little short and bushy, little teeny purple flowers, and I just picked off a bunch of them, and I'm just kind of placing them here and there wherever I see a hole. And now I was going to put Easter eggs on here, but I thought that it would just be too big, too much. And I had a bunch of these stems from the Dollar Tree. I got them last year and I've never used them, so I decided this is perfect. So I'm kind of matching the ribbon. There's like pink and blue and white and purple on the ribbon and yellow. I didn't want to use all those colors, but I thought the purple, the white, and the blue looked really pretty together, and it just brought all of the purple together. And now I have some more purple. I have this mesh from the Dollar Tree, and I am just going to take it and loop it over on itself. So there's 2 puffs on each side. It's just kind of like a figure 8, and I'm sorry it's a little out of screen, but it was kind of hard to work with. As you know, the mesh sticks together. So there's no tails or anything. I just made 2 loops on both sides. And then I have this pink mesh, and I'm doing the same thing. Just 2 loops on each side, and then I do have tails though. And then I have a, not a zip tie, a pipe cleaner or a chenille stick. And I'm just tying that, and I'm going to tie it right onto the top of the egg. And now I'm kind of taking these tails and I'm kind of ruching them down the side of the egg, or down the side of the ribbon, and just hot glue it a couple times there. And we are done, and this is a close-up of what it looks like. I really like this piece a lot. I just thought it was kind of a little bit different, a little bit unique, and it was so easy to make, and all of this stuff is from the Dollar Tree except those little purple flowers. but I'm sure you can find small purple flowers at the Dollar Tree. That's just what I had on hand. And here's a better picture of it on my wall. And so now we're going to make the farmhouse sign. I have an olive branch. I don't remember where I got that from. I think Walmart. I have my thrifted raffia, and then I have this metal ribbon from Hobby Lobby. It was on clearance for $1.50. I have craft sticks. I have some paint. I have the breadboard. And I have this that I pulled off of a previous piece that I DIY'd some Pioneer Women stuff with. And the breadboard, and I think I just said that. And then I have these two signs. I liked the just the edges there, and these are from the Dollar Tree. And I'm just removing all the tags and all the hangers and everything. And then I did have to take some Goo Gone and get that goopy sticky glue off. Now I have some of this lightweight speckling from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to go ahead and fill those holes in. And I'm just going to put the boards together, and I'm going to glue these jumbo graph stick on it. And if you're a subscriber, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for all of your likes, your shares, your comments, and your support. I'm here because of you, and I appreciate you. And if you're not a subscriber, a warm welcome to Homeward Studio. And if you like what you see, won't you consider subscribing? It's totally free. It helps me out a ton. Plus, if you hit the bell notification after you hit the subscription button, it will notify you every time I post a new video. Okay, so now after I put those boards together with all those popsicle sticks or craft sticks, I just filled in the center there with some more of the the lightweight speckling that I do not like, and you'll see why in a minute. And I always talk about this on my videos. Yeah, I need to get on that and get something that works better. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. So I painted this with the plaster. 2 good coats, no, 1 coat, because I went over it and distressed it so you can't really see, because I worked on the back of this. Then I have that truffle paint, and I'm just distressing it, and as you can see the hole where the filler was, and you can see the line in the middle. Yeah, you can't see it when I'm done because we somewhat cover that up. So I took that carrot sign off of this breadboard piece, and I put that in my spring box for another day. Now I'm doing the opposite here. I painted that with truffle, and then I am distressing it with the plaster. So the first one was plaster, distressed truffle. The second one was truffle, distressed plaster. So it was just kind of an opposite reverse. And now I have a bunch of raffia, and I'm just going to twist it and tie it around the top of the breadboard. And that piece on the right, I couldn't get it to, I couldn't push it down. It wouldn't stay down, so I had to glue it. And then I just took some more, and I just kind of looped it around itself. I want to say 4 inches maybe wide, and then I just tied it off with some more raffia and then glued it on the middle there just to give it, a little bit more of a bunchy look, I guess. And now I am taking that, and I had it centered, so instead of moving it, putting hot glue on it, I just picked it up carefully, put a bunch of hot glue on the back of it, and pushed it right back down. And I have that little piece that I took off of another piece, and I'm just gluing that too on top. And again, you'll want to use some kind of a super glue to glue all these together. Now I have this olive branch. I have my wire clippers here, and I'm just going to glue a couple of those branches onto the breadboard. And then everywhere that's touching, I just put a little teeny bit of glue down there to keep it flat. So this ribbon from Hobby Lobby, I have my wire clippers here, not wire clippers, tin snips. Yeah, my wire clippers couldn't cut it, so I measured it across the bottom of the board, and I cut 2 pieces out. So I cut probably 2 inches more on both ends, because I'm going to wrap it around like that. And then I have my quick glue. I forget what it's called. I don't have it in front of me. But it's just like a quick lock glue. I didn't think it dried all that quickly, but I hot glued it and then I clamped it down. And I did the same thing on top. I just put it up on top. I folded it over on both sides underneath like that. And to give it a nice clean look. And then, you know, also folding it over like that prevents you from cutting yourself, because, you know, on the ends would be sharp. So yeah, and then wherever the super glue wasn't, I just put hot glue for the temporary hold. And that's it, and this is what it looks like. And if you make this, here's what you're going to need. I have a wood round and MDF board from the Dollar Tree. I've had this for a while, so that's why I'm using it, but I would use a wood round with nothing on it if you can. I have the ivory chalk paint, and I also have folk art acrylic paint in the color Daybreak. I have this purple rickrack. I have a canvas bag. This is all ripped up. One of my daughters had it in high school, and yeah, it's all ripped, and she was going to throw it out, and I said, don't you know, us crafters, we keep everything. So I put that gladly in my stash, and then I have a bunch of flowers. So I'm just removing the hanger, and I'm going to give this one coat of the ivory chalk paint. And the reason I'm putting the chalk paint on is because I'm going to dab it with the acrylic paint, and I want the acrylic paint to adhere to this piece without putting 3 or 4 coats on it. So the chalk paint will help hold it down. And so I'm going to give this just one good coat. And anyway, let's talk about the purple rickrack. I just have a little bit of information. It is spelled R-I-C-K, R-A-C-K, and the meaning is zigzag braid. And it was used in the 1970s for trimming clothes and curtains and such. Now, rickrack actually goes back close to about 100 years ago, and it was called either zigzag crochet braid or waved crochet braid. And back then, it was used to decorate collars and cuffs. Now, the benefit of rickrack is it's easy to get. It comes in many colors and sizes, and it's fairly inexpensive. Okay, so now after this dries, I'm just going to take this color yellow. I made a little smiley face for you there, see? And I didn't have a lot left either. That's also why I use the chalk paint. But I'm just going to take my little dabber, pouncer, spouncer, whatever you call it, and then just give it one good coat on here. And so now it looks all bright and shiny. And because I'm impatient, I took my blow dryer and I dried it. I'm not impatient, I just have a lot to do. And so I just wanted to get this done. So I took my blow dryer. I always use my blow dryer to dry almost everything. Now I have this canvas bag, and I'm just gonna, I like the wrinkly part of the top, and I just put it right in the center of that because I'm gonna make a pocket. And then I just took a Sharpie and measured out and made a half circle of what I'm gonna cut out from it. And there, it looks like a little apron, a little dress. You can make a gnome with that. That's what I was thinking. And you guys, if you know me, you know I make gnomes. So anyway, I'm just going to determine where I want this. And then when I get it there, I'm just going to hot glue it all the way around. So first I started at the top edge, and then I went and got the little clamps from the Dollar Tree. I use these a lot. And then I'm not gonna pull it real tight because I'm gonna put some tissue paper in there, and I'm also gonna put some foam in there, flower foam. And so I'm just kind of loosely pulling that up on top. Plus I like the roughly piece. I took the string out of it, and but it was still roughly like that, and I wanted to keep that look. And so now I'm just doing it little by little here, pulling it up and pushing it down, making sure that there's no wrinkles in the front of this piece, or no creases, I should say. And now that that's done, I have my stampers here, and they're from the Dollar Tree. And I have a black ink pad. And I believe the Dollar Tree sells ink pads now too. Mine's from Michael's. I've had it for a long time. I put my purple rickrack up there just to measure it because I want to put the butterfly on the canvas. Now, this first time I'm putting a stamp on canvas. And I wanted it light, especially since this is the first time. I didn't want any smudging, but I kind of pulled it taut, the canvas on the bottom, and very carefully put the butterfly down. And I did end up getting ink on my fingers, so you can see I'm trying to not touch anything with my fingers. Have you ever done that before? Where you get like paint or glue or ink on your fingers, and then you don't realize it and you touch something, and then you're like, oh shoot, I just ruined that. So I was trying to be really careful. So I put it one on both sides and one in the middle, so there's 3 on the front. And now I'm just gluing the rickrack on here. And this is from the Dollar Tree as well. And now I have a nice little pocket, and I put my foam in there. But as you can see, the bottom, it needs something. So I took a piece of tissue paper. I always have some tissue paper kind of hanging around. If it comes in a package or, you know, whatever, I kind of save a few sheets of it, 4 or 5 sheets of it, because, you know, I do use it quite often, more than what I think I do. And I just shoved that down at the bottom really, really well. And then now I'm just putting the floral foam right back in. And I'm gluing the foam in there. And now I have these flowers. They're just from the Dollar Tree. They're wild flowers. And I'm just, I have one pick. And I'm just, I think there's 5 little, you know, little pieces on it. And I just take my wire clippers and I just clip them all out. And I always make sure that I clip them as long as possible, because I never know if this is going to be the taller of all the flowers or the shorter, but I put them in first, and then I can gauge whether I want to cut the wire down more or not. I hope that makes sense. And you guys know, I mean, you can't make something longer, you can only make it shorter. So that's kind of what I do here. And so now I have the lavender, and I put the lavender in here as well. I'm just putting, like, the back roll is higher, the lavender is lower. And now I want to bring out the yellow paint. So I have these flowers, and they're called Tweedia. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. I couldn't even find it on my pronunciation key on my a dictionary, but Tweedia. It's from the Dollar Tree. It's purple and yellow, and I thought that would really make the yellow pop. And then I have some more pics of the flowers, and these are yellow. I don't know what they're called. They were in my stash. There was no tag with them, but these are all from the Dollar Tree. These are not from the Dollar Tree. These are from Michael's. They were $7.99, but I got like 40 or 50% off of them. I have used this in many, many projects. Last year and this year, probably 7 different projects. So it was a deal to me, because this is just a really nice filler, and it's a little yellow and a little green, and it just goes with a lot. Yeah, so I just took my flowers and popped them in here and there. I wanted the back to peek out a little bit, that beautiful sunny yellow color. I did have this bow in my stash. I'm sorry I didn't show you how to make it. I've had it for a long time. I just trimmed it up and dovetailed the ends there. And now I have this little butterfly. There's in the sticker section, the craft section at the Dollar Tree, they have these little paper butterflies. And yeah, I bent the wings up and I put it in the middle of that. And then I put a hanger on that. And that's it. And this is what it looks like. Here's the first piece. It's the 3 bunnies on the right, the cloche I got from Marshall's. And I just took one of these MDF boards from, actually I have 2 of them, from the Dollar Tree. I'm sanding off those little holes because I pulled out the staples, and then I'm wiping it off really well. And now I have my truffle paint, chalk paint, that is pretty dry. I just had to mix it with some water to get it to spread, and I painted one side of this sign in that, and the top and the bottom. And now these little bunnies, I have 3 of them from the Dollar Tree, and they're pretty rough, as you can see. I'm painting them also in the truffle color. And now I have this Crackle medium from Folk Art, and I believe I got that at Hobby Lobby, but I'm pretty sure you can get that at Michael's, and I think you can make your own just with white glue too. So I painted a coat of the brown on each of these pieces, and now I'm painting a not real thick but a good coat of the Crackle medium on all 3 of these pieces, all 4 of these pieces, I'm sorry. Now I have the plaster, because I want that to be the top coat, and I want the dark brown peeking through. And I'm do this very, very quickly. Just one heavy coat, and don't go over, because it starts cracking immediately. And if you paint over that, you're painting over the process. So if you have to do a quick coat, do it right away, other than just leave it alone. And as you can see, they're cracking very nicely. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work on this board, but it did. And I took my hair dryer to it because I don't have a heating tool. I just use my extra hair dryer. And it's cracking. As it dries, it cracks more and more. And this is one of my favorite things to do. It's so enjoyable watching this. I don't know if you guys like this stuff, but I don't know. I love it. So now, see how nice that looks? Yeah, just my thing. So now I am taking a little bit of this leftover paint that I had, that I painted the bunnies and the board with, and I'm just kind of going over it with a baby wipe and like distressing it a little bit, and then kind of wiping it off with my finger. I do that. I use my fingers. I'm constantly getting paint on them and glue on them and washing them. And so I'm giving it kind of a heavy distressing and blending it in, like I said, with my finger. You can do this with a brush, but I don't know. I just get right down into it. So now I have this other board, and they're both the same exact board. They're both the same one. I got them from Christmas. They sell these at the Dollar Tree every season. And I'm just putting some E6000 around it. And I'm also putting hot glue around it, and a lot of hot glue because they're kind of warped a little bit. As you can see, the top one there is kind of bowed up. And I did paint the other one just in the brown, no crackle or anything, just in the brown, just to cover up the back. But I put the two together. And then I took my little clamps from the Dollar Tree here, and I clamped them all the way down the sides, on both sides, and the top and the bottom, and I let it sit for 24 hours. And now I'm just going to glue the bunnies on here the same way, E6000 and hot glue. And I'm bringing them slightly down, and I am taking a pencil and marking off where I want the bunnies, because I'm going to put something on the top there. And do not mix the hot glue with the E6000. I've heard that they cancel each other out. I don't know that. I just know that the fumes are incredible sometimes, and kind of burnt my nose really bad one time, so I've never done it since. So I just glued the 3 down there, and this is just simple Farmhouse, something you can use for Easter, spring. You could probably use this all year long. I have this little bow from Temu, this little jute thing. You can make these really easy, but because I ordered them from Temu, I had a bag of them. I'm just kind of using them up. And I had these little berries in my stash, and I'm just gluing a bunch on the top of the bunny's head. And this is it, and this is what it looks like, and I love this. That bird I think I got from Hobby Lobby, and again the cloche I got from Marshall's. And here's what I have. I thrifted this. I'm sure it was part of a light fixture. It was $1.99. I cleaned it up, took the sticker off, and turned it upside down because we're going to make a cloche. I have a little round wood piece here. I have some antique Waverly wax. I have this little bunny and some Spanish moss, some greenery, thin yellow ribbon, and these little eggs I made out of air dry clay. So I'm going to take the antique wax and I'm going to cover the top and the bottom and the sides, one good coat. And then I take a baby wipe and I wipe it all off. Well, not all of it, but you know what I mean. As much as you want. I just wanted to stain it kind of lightly. And then I took the Spanish moss and I kind of rolled it up and then pushed my finger in my thumb in the middle of it and made kind of like a little bird's nest. And I put a little dollop of hot glue on that wood piece so that would stick on there. And then now I'm trimming it so I can put that little cloche piece on top. I put the eggs in there. And I just set the cloche on top. And now I have some of this ribbon. I'm just going to make a shoelace bow. Just a little tiny one. And then I just hot glue it on top. That is it. Super simple, super easy, and only a... Okay, here's what I have to make this piece. Now I picked this up from Dollar General. It was on the half off table. It was $5 and I got it for $2.50. I should have bought 2 of them because I love this personally for my home. I just absolutely love this piece. I just wanted to spruce it up a little bit. So I have this pick that I got from Michael's. It just has a bunch of butterflies on it. They had different colors. I thought it was absolutely stunning. I have these also. I don't know what these are. They just say florals, or I don't know what, just florals, I guess, on them. So I thought that was kind of weird. And then I also have those little teeny purple ones as well from Michael's. And I have a bunch of zip ties. So now I'm going to put these together because I'm just going to go up the side here and just kind of jazz this sign up a little bit, make it look all springy. And I took these 2 and I cut those down, and then I put one on top and one on the bottom. I cut all the little picks off of one and then off of the other one, and then now I'm going to zip tie these together. The reason I'm zip tying these together and then I'm going to zip tie the other ones together and then zip tie them together is because they were just moving a lot and I just couldn't get them all together under one zip tie. And sometimes I don't even tie it really tight until I just can manipulate the little pieces in there, and then I tie it tighter. And I'm just going to tie it right onto the frame here. And now I have these 2. They look like some kind of a lily or something, or coral bells, like large coral bells. I love coral bells, by the way. I have them in the front of my house. But I know that's not what these are, but I just wish they would have put the name of the flower on here. If you know what these flowers are called, let me know. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And they just scream spring. I think they're a spring flower. But anyway, I just took and clipped them off and then put one on top and one on the other and then zip tied it together. And you see I didn't pull the zip tie tight because I'm still manipulating these little stems in here. And you can see the zip tie, and I'm going to show you what I do. I have one of these leaves that popped off of this stem, and I'm just going to glue the leaf right on top of the zip tie so you don't see it at all. And I have a few extra of these little teeny purple pieces here, and I'm just going to pop a couple of them in there also as well. And I thought this just turned out so pretty. It just kind of reminds me of like a trellis kind of. I'm not sure where I'm going to hang it. I have a couple different ideas, but this is definitely going to go on my wall in my house. I just love this piece. And it was so inexpensive to make because all these stems were, I think they were 50% off at Michael's. So I picked off a couple of the butterflies. There were large ones and small ones. And I put one on top facing down, one in the middle facing to the right. And then I end up putting one on the end also as well, a larger one on the end. And I'm just filling a couple extra little pieces here. And that's it. That was really quick, really easy, and I think it turned out really beautiful. And I love this piece. Let me know what you think. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching Homeward Studio. I hope this video gave you some inspiration, and I will be back real soon with a fresh new video. And until then, have a blessed week. Bye.